Alrighty, we're back. Hello, welcome back to an anime story podcast. Unfortunately, Bad Strategy's not going to be joining us today, but that is okay. Let me just fix the camera here real quick, because as much as getting a big old double image of me is awesome, perhaps we shouldn't do that. But again, now that we're restarting, Helen, how are you doing today? And let me real quick. You said you've just been cleaning the house?
Yeah.
Hey, that's the best. Or no, wait. That is the thing that happens sometimes. I'm not a big fan of cleaning the house, but sometimes it has to happen. But Aggretsuko, what did you think?
I highly enjoyed the development of it.
Yeah.
I've watched it quite a few times, and I think that they did a really nice job syncing everything together. Yeah, it was really great, and I'm glad they gave us a little teaser before season 2 came out. That was kind of awesome. So.
Oh, really? Wait, before with the Christmas episode?
Yeah.
That's yes. So I did not watch the Christmas episode, so I am behind.
Just by one.
Just by one. So what are your thoughts? Let's talk about the credits real quick. The opening credits. I think a lot of people have enjoyed those quite a bit.
Yes. I thought they were very clever. Specific. I loved the specificity of like the little head twitches and how we don't get the full-on Aggretsuko death metal. Like she's not singing in the beginning, but we get the feeling.
Right.
And I love how they layered that in. I thought that was very nicely done.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I think the way that they did the metal was both very funny, and it got the point across, and it was not too much, which I think could have been very, very easy to do too much. So this is, I think, it's up for an award. You were saying it's up for
it's
a couple
up for
awards?
best character development. It's up for best intro.
Wow.
It was up for the main guy that has a crush on Aggretsuko. He's up for best boy, best guy.
Best boy, best guy.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's very charming. It's a very charming show. It's got a lot of character development. So this is great. This is a great example of a show where everybody in the show has a motivation and has a goal, and they go try to do that. And then some people come into conflict. It's a great example of the genre that I would call slice of life. I don't know what would you say it's. What would you call it if you were to cram it into a box? What would the box be?
Pretty close. I don't know that I would necessarily call it slice of life.
Yeah.
But
if there was a different category, what would you call it?
I don't know.
Yeah, and this is the problem I think with genres.
I like the development, and it is kind of slice of life, but I feel like it has a trajectory. Whereas I feel like sometimes slice of life gets stuck in not having a trajectory.
So that's interesting. I think that yes, that's true. A lot of the time, slice of life shows or movies or what have you will get stuck into nothing happening. Now, I think that's just not good writing, though, because I think any show, no matter what it is, needs to have characters with motivations that are doing so. And like Aggretsuko, she wants, there's a lot of things she wants. She kind of thinks she wants a relationship, and there's a thing about her getting married, and she wants a better job, and she wants to be appreciated by her boss, and there's a lot of stuff she does and she wants, and she does things to try to get there. And so there's movement in the show.
Yes.
And so that is still, I would, if we have to cram it into a box,
I
genre,
would agree.
yeah, it's like I'd say it's kind of slice of life, and
Yeah.
that's again the thing with genre is if all you have is little boxes to cram things into, then
On the
they're all going to
hillside.
be imperfect. They're not going to fit into the box, but little boxes are all we have. So uh, slice of life.
Sounds like a weed song. Little boxes on the hillside, little boxes made of ticky tack.
Oh, um, but yeah, it's a great example I think of the slice of life genre because it's fun. The characters are interesting. They all have their own thing going on. They're
It
moving.
builds,
They build. They develop. They learn and they
yeah.
change. And that's great. It's a lot of fun.
And
And
they're faced with obstacles that they have to like overcome.
mhm,
And we always like as a human species, we like seeing that obstacle. We like seeing how they're going to overcome that
yeah.
and how that heightens everything for them. And like her having to go to work the next day and she's like, "Oh, I got drunk with everybody. They're all gonna remember this." And she gets there, and everybody's like, "I was so blackout. I don't know what happened." She's like, "Oh,
Oh, thank
oh
God.
my
Yeah, when
god."
she was insulting her boss a whole bunch. Oh, that was great. But the boss remembered, did
Did
he?
he though?
I thought he did.
No, he said he didn't remember. Doesn't mean he didn't.
Doesn't mean he did. Yeah, I don't quite remember. But oh my gosh, yeah, yeah, really solid show. Um, and yeah, so that's yeah, it's a great. I think it's a great example of the slice of life genre.
What do you
Um,
like about the artistic style? Like, how did you feel it flowed?
well, so the artistic style, would you call it? Okay, again, we're gonna. Would you call it chibi? Um,
You
kind of.
could.
You
Yeah.
could. It's a very
Yeah.
cutesy style. It's reminiscent of chibi.
It's very
Everybody has
like that Hello
also
Kitty kind of
yeah,
style.
yeah, exactly. All the characters are animals and they have big heads and small bodies. Uh, that I thought it's cute and charming. I think it also one of the things that obviously the show Aggretsuko is the main character gets her anger out by singing metal, which is awesome. That's it. That's the opening credits. Is that like metal, like and
Twitch,
it's
twitch.
funny, and it contrasts the style of animation very well, um, and so I find it's very clever in that way. Um, but yeah, the art, it's nice. It's good. It works really well. Is it a Netflix original series?
I
Or
think
no,
so.
it was a. I feel like it was a manga first.
Maybe it was. I
I
don't
think it was
know.
a manga first, and then
Was it a
maybe.
Netflix original series? Or... Yeah, it was a Netflix original series. Was it a manga first? He said not that he knows of.
Uh huh. Yeah, no, I think it was just a. Uh, yeah, it's just a original Netflix animation.
Yeah.
It says it is a musical comedy. I
Yeah, I mean, I
don't
could
know
say
if I'd
that.
say that.
I mean, you could though. I mean, like,
I
I don't
suppose you
know.
could. I suppose you could. It's
Because
kind of weird though.
musicals have like musical, and then they have times where there's no
Mhm.
music going on. So
Right.
it
No,
could
yeah,
fit
for
in
sure.
that box. I love when she's so like there's an arc where she's like trying to hold everything in, and I thought this was very clever because she's dating this guy who has no like interest, like not interest, but he just doesn't. He's clueless.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
then when she finally like she's like tearing up her feet wearing these god awful shoes and he's not even like noticing or caring.
Uh huh.
And then
That was funny.
finally she's just like and she breaks up with him by taking him to the karaoke bar and
Hmm.
then screaming her song at him.
I think this goes into something that I find funny. Is so all the animals or all the characters are animals, right? And so she ends up dating very briefly. She's a red panda, and she ends up dating another red panda very briefly. And so the guy at her work that likes her, that I think is she kind of oblivious to him. I feel like
Yeah,
she's
she's
kind of
pretty
oblivious.
oblivious to
She
him.
oblivious that he likes her. He is a spotted hyena, um, which is interesting. The office gossip is a hippo. She has a giant mouth and she blabbers, and so she's a hippo. Her boss is a pig, um, who is also a pig. Uh, and so that I don't know. I find that very. That's one of the things about it. I think it's very fun.
They
Um,
definitely heighten the stereotypes, which I
mhm,
like because it gave more conflict to it.
mhm,
Like the pig being a pig and
mhm.
being kind of a sexual harasser kind of
He's a pig.
guy.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
And so like just them
Yeah.
heightening the
Yeah. No,
stereotypes are really nice.
it's a charming, funny, kind of on the nose thing that works well for the style and works well for the the fact that it's a slice of life that is kind of ridiculous. Yeah, no, that was great. And her, I think one of the ones I really enjoyed was the senior one of the senior people in her department at the company she works for
Mhm.
is a Komodo dragon, and so
Yeah.
she has the forked tongue, and she's like a vicious, mean lady. That was very funny. That was terribly
Here,
fun. No,
open my jar that doesn't open.
yeah, no, yeah. Good cast of characters though, well rounded. What do you think? Now, speaking of the music before, what do you think of the music?
I like it. She
Hmm.
has that one song. So it's actually just one tune that she sings different lyrics to,
Yes, yeah,
which
that's
I thought was clever as
mhm,
well because the songs don't all sound the same,
yeah,
even though it's the same background music. So I really liked that they kept that it fresh in your mind, but they
mhm,
also put different lyrics to it each time, and I thought that was
yeah,
clever.
yeah. No, absolutely. That was an interesting thing they did. And they I think they uh, I mean, probably just because it's hard to write a whole bunch of music, they just happen to have a metal tune. And then she just every time for every situation she would sing a different set of lyrics. Which I wonder how they sound in Japanese. Because was it? Here's an interesting. That's an. Is it? Was it in Japanese? Is it in Japanese? It's a Netflix original anime.
It's I don't know. It's in English when I watched it, but it might be. All the writing's in Japanese.
Okay, so
So
this
like
there
when I'm
is singing.
texting,
There is Japanese singing.
okay.
So I assume there's Japanese voice acting. You see, this is an interesting thing because Netflix having an original anime series. I know there are people who can be relatively elitist about anime and say that if it wasn't made in Japan, it's not anime, which I guess is fair. It's I don't know. I think
I
it's
do and
more
I
of a
don't.
yeah. It's
I guess
more.
I do in the sense that, it did originate in Japan and France
Mhm.
actually. Um, and but also we call animation for
Right.
short anime.
Well, that's I mean, and that's
So,
what a Japanese person wouldn't actually make a distinction between like a Pixar movie and like Dragon Ball Z. They'd call it all anime.
right.
And the fact that a lot of people in the West would only call stuff made in Japan anime and wouldn't call something made elsewhere anime. That I don't know. It's an interesting thing. People are weird that way.
Culture.
But yeah, it's uh, so there is singing in Japanese though. I wonder how that
Oh, cool.
sounds. Because I
I'll have
mean,
to listen to that because that's
being
something I didn't.
right, being that it's metal, I can't understand it anyways. I just read the subtitles.
Seriously?
Well, some of it I understand, but I have to like really listen because it's metal.
Do you like metal?
I love metal. Oh yeah, it's great.
Okay.
It's not about the words though. It's about the like awesome
The
sound.
energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, in high school I listened to so much metal like that, and I
Oh
would blare
yeah,
it in my parents' house. I'm pretty sure I drove them nuts.
you probably did, but that's okay. That was the time to drive your parents nuts.
Exactly.
But no, yeah, I thought it was the music is great. The music contrasted really well with the animation style, the style of writing, the fact that they're all fuzzy animals and like That also it went well with the mundane office setting that was the Gesundheit. That was the background of the show was the setting of the show. Um, Obviously, like metal. That is a fun it works. It clashes with the like mellow mundane setting of working a boring office job. But uh, yeah, definitely. I think definitely a well put together show. I think it was a really well thought out show. Um, uh, Made a lot of sense. All the characters worked together well. They all had their different motivations, and they moved through the story. And yeah, I think again one of the things that sometimes happens with slice of life stories, or I would say oftentimes happens with slice of life stories, is that they will not really have a direction. It doesn't have to be an like again, it's a slice of life story, so you don't have to go try to save the world or have your family kidnapped, But like you want to be appreciated by your boss, or you want to find a meaningful relationship, or you want to get a new job, get into a different line of work. And those are all like great motivations, and if you are working towards those things, perfect. That is they're mundane, but you need those things because otherwise it'd be stagnant. Um, and I think
My
a lot.
husband also mentioned to me the odes to the Japanese culture throughout the show,
Mm-hmm.
like the drinking culture. Like you would go
Oh
out for a
yeah,
drink after work, or
mm-hmm.
you know,
And the whole
get sloshed,
how you hold the bottle thing.
or falling asleep at your desk and waking up the next morning.
Uh huh.
People pretend it gets them kudo points with the boss, who says,
Whoa, wait, what is drinking a lot?
"No, no, no." When they fall asleep at their desk,
Oh really?
yeah, it
That's
gets them
funny.
kudo points. So people actually pretend to sleep at their desks so that they get kudo points with their boss.
Huh.
Right?
Interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting one. That seems like a very productive culture. Or that's not the way my boss would take it.
No, that's not how my boss would take it either.
That
But
would
they
give.
stay so many hours anyway,
Yeah, no, for sure.
because they do work really quite hard over there.
All right. So, what do you think here? Oh yeah, by the way, before I forget, Bad Strategy says, what was it? Best girl is who was it?
The
I think it's the boss.
the pig,
I
yeah.
think it's the pig. Best girl is the pig.
Ton,
Um,
Ton,
Tone, yeah, Tone. Oh
pig
yeah,
to ton.
Tone. Yeah, best
Yeah,
girl is the pig, and I think I can agree with that.
I
Uh,
agree with that.
best girl is the pig, and then what was the? Uh, did he even say waifu? I don't know if he said waifu. Who would you say is waifu? Waifu here.
Haida,
Haida? Who's that?
yeah, Haida's the
Oh, the
hyena
guy,
dancer.
the spotted hyena.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's a sweet guy.
he
He
keeps getting
seems like a.
turned down.
I know, poor guy. He'll get there someday. He'll build that relationship. And I don't know. Maybe I think apparently allegedly that might happen in the Christmas episode. I didn't watch it. I can't wait. When does the second season come out?
I don't know. It's coming 2019. That's all
Interesting.
it's
Coming 2019. Great. Well, it's 2019.
at. Right.
Also, when is the new season? Not to get off topic. When does the new season of My Hero happen? Because I
Oh
heard something
my.
about that too.
My Hero Academia new season. Let me check.
Uh huh.
Spring. It says confirmed for a
Oh,
spring release, so it's
oh,
coming.
I can't wait. Can't wait.
Oh
It's gonna be good.
yeah.
I am also excited about Aggretsuko because it's a great little bite-sized thing. They were like 12 minutes an episode, right? Something like that.
Uh-huh.
Who'd you pitch this to? Actually, this is a really good question.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like it hits a broad range of people.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And I think it's really nice in that sense because it is so slice of life, like you said,
Hmm.
but people can relate to having a crappy boss at some point in time. People can
Yeah.
relate to trying to build relationships or having that one friend who's like crying all over you and all you want to do is sleep and you're like, I'm here for you.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Like when the Gorilla Girl goes off. So like there's so many just like things that we go through daily that I feel like they hit on that make it very easy for most people to watch. I mean, if you really hate metal, you might not like it, but I
Yeah,
still
I
think
guess
there's
that's
a lot
fair.
to get out of it.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. And if you really hate metal, go listen to Glory Hammer. That is that is a great band. And if you don't like Glory Hammer, shame on you, because they're wonderful. But um, yeah, no, I think that Aggretsuko is an interesting anime, probably for first time watchers. You think? I
Oh
think that
yeah.
I think
Oh yeah.
if yeah, especially if you're going to show somebody who really enjoys like Pixar movies or Disney movies or something like that, because all the characters are animals. It's there's serious topics in it
It
because all
can
the characters are
be
animals.
cutesy. It can be a little
It can be
cutesy, and I
cutesy.
think that's the fun of it
Mhm.
because it's cutesy, but then they say things like I have a shitty boss
Yeah,
over and
exactly.
over and over again. So
Mhm.
I wouldn't necessarily pitch this to children, especially if you're not okay with them
That's
hearing those
that's
things.
probably true, and honestly, I think it would be a thing that's kind of lost on children, anyways, because it's not like there are no problems in the show that any of the characters are dealing with that are really relatable to kids. It's her Retsuko dealing with having a crappy job and a crappy boss and her vacant love life and her um, desire to have a better job and her
And it's so
friends and
cutesy, they might like it just because it's
I mean,
super
that's
cute
fair.
and
They might be, if
screaming.
they're that young, they might, hey, it's a red fox, or it's a red panda. I thought it was a fox when we first watched it. It's a red panda. They probably wouldn't know it's a red panda. They probably would say it's a fox or something. Um,
Mhm.
but or if you're me, uh, but I would say, yeah, probably not a great show for kids.
No.
Just because I don't even if all the stuff that they wouldn't be appropriate would go over their heads. I just don't think it'd
Right.
be that entertaining for them. Um, if it's a person who you think would have trouble taking it seriously because they're animals, because they're anthropomorphic animals, maybe they
Right.
wouldn't like it. But generally speaking, yeah, no, I don't, it's a pretty wide open thing. It's pretty relatable in most senses. Again, it's about working at a crappy job and having, problematic like uh, relationships and not having relationships and uh, feeling like you want something more in life. So probably it's a relatively wide-reaching show, and if you appreciate like good animation, it's pretty good animation. It's not the most it's
But
charming
it's
and
clean
cute.
lines. It's
Yeah,
clean lines. It's
it's very
it's
easy to watch.
and I like the depth. I like that they make use of shadows. Even though it's so simple, they still have like that depth to it.
Hmm.
That doesn't necessarily need to be there. And like I noticed like reflections and things
Hmm.
like that you know, they don't stand out because it's such a simple animation style,
Hmm.
but when you really look close, it's like, "Oh, that's actually there." Or
And
like the little egg, the hatched egg instead of the bitten apple. I thought that was adorable. Like
and
just
it
a little attention to detail throughout. It
and I
was
think
really
if you can appreciate the contrast between the metal and the office job and the animation style, that just makes it much better. That's one of the things again we were talking about the other week with Ninja Girl, the Samurai Master. The
Yep.
like scenes where she kills like a whole bunch of people really quickly, and but it's like a cute, like vaguely chibi, like and
Choo choo
it,
choo.
that's charming. That's funny, because she's like a shinobi, but she's tiny and cute. Um, but yeah, no, it's pretty. I'd say it's pretty wide reaching. How would you pitch it to somebody though? Probably just slice of life. Slice.
I would say that it was like Hello Kitty, except for not safe for kids.
Oh yeah, that's funny. I like that actually. I
I'd be
would.
like, it's adorable, and yeah.
It's
I think
adorable.
and
Yeah.
then she screams about how awful her boss is,
Uh-huh.
and that's all safe for work language.
I think that's probably I'd probably try to sell it that way with uh, the slice of life, and she's a cute, fuzzy, tiny panda that sings death metal and works at a crappy job, and her boss is a pig. Um, and because I feel like that's kind of the essence of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a good
It
show.
gets
I would.
weird when the boss gets in trouble for his sexual harassment.
Oh yeah,
And he's like, "How are you today?" "No,
right.
no, please." And everybody's like, "Oh my god."
Uh huh. And
And
everybody
then
thinks
run
it's
away.
even more
Run
terrifying.
away. Yeah.
It's a solid one. I think it is. But yeah, I think that's kind of about all I have to say about Aggretsuko. It's a good show. Has a good theme. It's well written. Um, it's not a boring show to watch, which is again a relative rarity in the slice of life genre. It is relatively compelling, and again, each episode is like 10, 12 minutes, so that makes it super easy to get through. You could probably get. I mean, it's only what is the? I think the season is like 9 or 10 episodes. How long is the Christmas special?
The Christmas special is like maybe 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Maybe.
So you could
What?
literally like if you skip the
Just
intro.
another episode, he said.
Oh, say what?
He
It's like
said just another episode, so it's
an episode.
another 10, 12
So
minutes.
literally, you could get through it in like an hour and a half because I think if each episode's like 10 or 12 minutes, and I think there are 8 or 9 episodes. Let me see. 10. Oh, okay. So there are 11 episodes. Um, so yeah,
I watched
if
it
you
in
sit
about
down,
2 hours.
if you have a couple hours, if you have a couple hours, sit down and get through the whole season. Um, and I would definitely recommend it because just for how short it is, really really good watch. Um, but is there anything
And
that
it's
is?
easily available. It's nice that it's on Netflix
It's also
because
on
it's
Netflix.
so easy available.
Exactly, and that again is the thing, like we were talking about last week.
Yeah.
Netflix, everybody has Netflix, or everybody has access to Netflix. Most everybody. But is there anything else you wanted to say about Aggretsuko? Because I feel like we've kind of nailed it. It's pretty straightforward. It's a slice of life. It's well written. The animation's pretty good. Good themes. It does what it does right. It does it really well.
Sam said watching it the second time he enjoyed it just as much as the first.
Did he? That's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is what I'm going to have to. When the second season comes out, I will probably watch the first season again because it'll only be
Well,
a couple hours.
and I'm the kind of person I don't like to rewatch things.
Oh, do
I
you
watch
not?
them. No, if I watch something, I'll watch it because I want to see it, but I don't necessarily watch things to rewatch over and over. So like The Fifth Element, I will rewatch that.
Mm-hmm.
But like other stuff, I'm like, okay, I saw that anime, we're good. And I felt like Aggretsuko, I could rewatch it again and get like just as
Uh-huh.
happy watching it.
Yeah, no, for sure. You see, and this is interesting because I rewatch things all the time. In fact, I feel like I kind of have to watch a movie like a solid 3 times before I can, really have an opinion that I'm okay with about it. And that's if I'm really doing, some kind of serious critique of it, which I've done a lot. As I think as a writer, like take all your favorite movies that you think are amazing and watch them once, and then go back and rewatch them, and then write down everything that happens in the whole movie, scene for scene, like line for line, write it all down, and then try to figure out where this character. You learn so much about how the movie is put together that way, and then you can watch it a third time and be like, yep, it's this big thing. It's beautiful. Do that with The Matrix because It's a well
I
done
did
film.
that with The Matrix.
That is a really well done film.
No, that's what I mean. Like,
Mhm.
I feel like you kind of get an eye too.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna want to watch something that is really
Oh yeah.
bad
Yeah.
over and over
Oh
again.
yeah, no, for sure.
Like,
If it's bad, don't watch it twice. Like there's no reason to watch it twice unless you want to go
exactly.
through it and try to figure out why it's bad.
Why it's so
Although
bad?
generally speaking, you can do that on the first go, and it's going to be like one of a couple of things. It's going to be the bad character. There's no character motivations, or it's going to have a passive protagonist, or it's going to have no protagonist, which happens in
And no
movies.
stakes, not
No stakes.
moving,
Yeah.
no
There's
action. Like, nothing's happening.
there's some there's some there's some there's some big ones that are the common ones, and the ones we talk about all the time about things that need to be fixed. Like, what's the character's motivation? Like, they need to have it. They need to have it, even in a slice of life anime. And when they have it, it works, no matter what it is. Romantic
Well, because
comedy,
they're in the moment.
action movie, slice of life, mystery. Everyone needs a motivation. Otherwise, they shouldn't be there.
Well, and otherwise it doesn't exist. It's not, you're not in the moment. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Mhm.
Like, that's part of it. A part of the viewer watching it is them being in the moment with you.
Mhm.
And if they're not along for the ride, then people stop caring.
Yeah.
And
But
then
there's
it's
nothing
like,
to care
okay,
about.
why am I? Yeah.
Yeah. If you ever stop and you're like, what's happening in this? Why are they doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Ask what. That's a good question. Why are they doing this? Why is the character doing what they're doing?
And that's the
And
biggest question to ask. I think
Mhm.
everybody should ask that question whenever they don't like something. Why
Yeah.
do I not like this?
Yeah, exactly. No, absolutely. And that's especially if you're getting well, if you want to do if you're writing or if you're filmmaking or anything that has to do with storytelling. Definitely asking, not saying I don't like this, but like, why don't I like this? What is
Right.
the thing that is not working? And when you do like something, what is the thing? Why do you like it? What is the thing that's what's helping you here? that can get more complicated because there's a lot of things that have to work.
Right.
But yeah, biggest thing is not having motivation, and then having a passive protagonist or a protagonist that may or may not have a motivation, but they never act on that motivation, and things simply happen to them.
Mm-hmm.
Obstacles are thrown at them, and they have to navigate the obstacle, and they never do anything for themselves. They never go to try to solve the problem that they're having or try to gain whatever goal they're working towards. They just sit there and things happen to them, and occasionally things are given to them, and that is just an insufferable problem that
It's
happens all the time.
insufferable too. Like, it's insufferable because you don't have them, like, it's happening to them, but
Mhm.
if they're not concrete as a character, then
Right.
their reactions to the obstacles being thrown at them,
Mhm.
they're going to react differently every time. So we don't get a
Yeah.
sense of who they are as a character.
Right.
And so it's like, okay, this isn't believable.
Mhm. Oh
This
yeah.
person is a blob.
Yeah, they're
Like,
what? They don't. There's nothing to them.
they have to be strongly rooted. The character has to be strongly developed so that their motivation comes through and so that they can make choices based on the obstacles that come at them.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Exactly. And and really, the obstacles shouldn't be things that come at them. They should be things that they go to do something and they encounter an obstacle.
Right.
And then every so often, this is what the antagonist is for too.
Mm-hmm.
The antagonist, because the thing that they want runs contrary to the thing that the protagonist wants. And so the antagonist will actively do something against the protagonist or to upset the protagonist's plans.
And not to jump animes here, but a good
Mhm.
example of it is My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
Because they do set up the world so well that both the protagonist and the antagonists all want kind of their own version of that world.
Oh yeah,
They
absolutely.
all want kind of the same super objective, but
Mhm.
they don't want the way the protagonists are doing it.
Yeah.
And the
yeah.
protagonists don't want the way the antagonists want to do it. So then you have your collision.
Yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely. And then this is that's one of the reasons. Like, I think Aggretsuko is a pretty good example. I think definitely again, and we say it relatively frequently, My Hero Academia is such a great show. You can look at any character in that show, and just ask what do they want, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I know what they want. They want to do this, or they want
Mhm.
that. They want to be this, or they want to go here. Everybody wants a very specific thing, um,
Agreed.
and they all move towards it. And sometimes those things, uh, make them work together, and sometimes they don't work together so well. And sometimes, obviously,
But
the
it's so
antagonist.
solid when it
Yeah,
doesn't work, it
yeah,
makes sense.
it makes sense, and it just the characters are they're just more believable. They're more compelling. When Todoroshi and Midoriya are in the tournament arc,
Mhm.
and you want them to be friends because they have kind of similar goals, and then their goals kind of uh, cross a little bit, and they have this conflict, and they just the way that Bakugo and Midoriya have the same goal, but the goal makes it mutually exclusive. They both want to be the world's number one hero, and because there's only one number one hero, like they're both doing the same thing, and then occasionally they find themselves like facing each other, trying to both be the number one hero, and it makes. But because they are trying to both be heroes and good guys, and the world's greatest heroes, they're oftentimes fighting the antagonists together, which is great. That's a great those two characters are wonderful together.
And a
Um,
great setup on their part for the antagonists and the protagonists, because you have these two protagonists who are side by side, who
mhm.
you're not sure if Bakugo is going to go to the dark side.
Yeah,
And then
no,
he's like,
absolutely.
no, I would never do that because I'm going to be better than you. And it's like,
Hmm.
oh, wow.
Yeah, no,
It
absolutely.
was questionable. So I like
Yeah,
that. Like, that made it hop
yeah.
more.
That was because it's one of those things where when you look at Midoriya's motivation, Midoriya, because of his motivation, he would never, because I would say their motivations, Midoriya and Bakugo's motivations are a little bit different. Midoriya, definitely, he wants to be the Earth's number one hero and save people. What does he say? Save people with a smile, make them feel better, have a smile on my face. And Bakugo wants to be the most powerful hero, like the number one hero, and his motivation is it's the same, but it's just different enough that he would still be able to accomplish his goal if he was a bad guy, but the most powerful bad guy. So you can see him trying to do that. And that's why it is when he is when their bad guys are trying to turn him to be evil, you're like, oh my god, he might actually go for that.
Right.
I hope he doesn't because I like him. But anyways, now we've gotten on a My Hero conversation because eventually all conversations become My Hero Academia conversations. It's just how it
And it's
goes.
coming out soon. We got to
And it's
promote.
gonna it's gonna be great. So what are we gonna be watching next week? It's just you and me. We can discuss it. We don't even need the bad strategy here.
Oh.
Yeah, what would you like to watch?
Let me think.
There's a couple of them. Definitely, I think up in the cards. There's Cowboy Bebop. Um, what was another good one that we had been talking about possibly watching?
I don't know. We've been watching so many new animes,
Yeah,
but
we've been watching a lot of new ones, and we have just done a couple short films, which were fun. Both of them great.
Sam says Last Exile is his vote.
Last Exile. What,
Hmm.
Sam? What's that about?
He's like kind of a steampunk type.
How long is it? Like
Spaceships, airships.
airships are great. I love airships.
He doesn't remember how many episodes.
Okay, well, we could definitely do the first season of what's it called?
Last Exile. Sam's been trying to get me to watch it for years. It looks like so season one. Okay.
That's funny because Path of Exile is an anime. Path of Exile is also a Mamorpaga,
Oh,
or it's an American style. RPG like like the game Diablo. If you play games,
Oh, okay.
Path of Exile, pretty good game, solid stuff.
This one came out in 2003, and it's got 26 episodes.
Oh
So
my
it's a
gosh!
chunkier one.
You know what? We're gonna call it. Let's do Path of Exile for this coming week. That is going to be Saturday, 26th. Saturday, the 26th of January. Path of
Let me make
Exile.
sure I heard you right. Path of Exile or Last Exile?
Last Exile.
Yeah,
Is it Last Exile?
it's Last. LAST.
Oh. Then, in fact, that in that case, there is not an anime of Last Exile. There is an anime of Path of Exile. Last Exile. Okay, that looks more like it. The first one, I was like, I don't see any airships. I see boobs, but that's about it.
I don't know what Path of Exile is.
Yeah, you can Google that later. Just make sure you have your antivirus on.
Okay.
Yeah, that actually looks much better. I'm super into that.
Cool.
Excellent. Last Exile, that's going to be the, again, 26th of January, next Saturday. We'll
And
be doing
then
Last
26
Exile.
episodes. That's like
26
awesome.
episodes. Oh my
On the
gosh. It
it was meant to be.
means something, I'm sure. But yeah, I think we can quit just a little bit early. Lovely talking. Thanks for watching.
Bye, guys.
Man, thanks for being here. Have a lovely night. Bye.